Welcome to the IMAC online video series. This video is Family 9, Rotational Elements. Rotational elements include aileron rolls, part rolls, point rolls, spins, and snaps. Let's begin with aileron rolls and point rolls. The rate of roll must be constant, 1 point per occurrence. Aircraft must maintain heading and prescribed plane and direction of flight during the roll, half point per 5 degrees. Aircraft must stop precisely after stated number of rotations, half a point per 5 degrees. An over or under rotation of greater than 90 degrees will be zeroed. Linked rolls must be flown as one continuous figure. Unlinked and opposite rolls must have a brief minimum pause between the rolls. Absence of a perceptible pause between the elements of the combination shall be downgraded by 1 point. Roll rates can be different in unlinked roll elements without a downgrade. Take a look at the example below. The second aileron roll rate does not have to match the first aileron roll rate. No stoppage in 9.1.1 to 9.1.5. 0 if it can be considered as a hesitation roll. Point rolls. The roll rate of the rolling segments must be constant with each roll segment matching that of the preceding segment. Any visible deviation in roll rate from one segment to the next or within a segment is to be downgraded by 1 point per occurrence. Hesitation for points should be distinct. Each visible variation in the duration of the pause segments is downgraded by 1 point. Errors in degrees of rotation, under rotating the points, are downgraded at a half point per 5 degrees. However, the duration of the rolling segments and the pause segments do not need to be equal. If a pause is not recognizable or omitted, the figure is to be graded as a 0. Snap rolls. The nose must depart the flight path in the correct direction, 0 if either no pitch observed or pitching in the wrong direction. A positive snap will pitch towards the canopy. A negative snap will pitch toward the gear. Autorotation must be initiated, 0 if no autorotation. Roll is barreled or aileroned. Departure and autorotation may occur simultaneously or sequentially. Any rotation or roll observed prior to the required pitch movement is to be downgraded at a half a point for each 5 degrees of such rotation. Coming out of autorotation early and aileroning to the end of the snap is a common error. In this case, a downgrade of a half a point for each 5 degrees is to be applied for the amount of rotation remaining at the point of the autorotation ending. In the event that the start of autorotation is delayed somewhat after the required pitch movement has been shown, it is possible that the aircraft will draw a visible line between the pitch and the start of autorotation. If this occurs, the maneuver should be zeroed. No penalty is to be applied for the offset or realignment of the aircraft immediately after the autorotation is completed. Let's continue with spins. Positive spins and negative spins. All spins begin from horizontal flight with a defined entry line. This entry line to the spin is to be judged and downgraded as required in the same manner as any other wind-corrected horizontal line. The only exception to judging the entry line is if the spin entry line is also the entry to the sequence. In this instance, the line entry is not to be judged, and judging begins at the spin stall break. It should be noted that the flight path of the spin entry line should remain constant and not influenced by the change of pitch attitude required to achieve the stall. Take a look at figure 57. In other words, judge the track. When the aircraft stalls, the nose will fall at the same time the wingtip will drop in the direction of the spin, initiating autorotation. The fall of the nose and the drop of the wing are to occur simultaneously. After the completion of the prescribed number of turns, the aircraft must stop rotating precisely on the prescribed heading, and then a wind-corrected vertical line must be shown. If a roll element follows a spin, there should be a brief but perceptible pause, similar to unlinked rolls, between the spin and the roll. Aircraft must stall wings level, half a point per 5 degrees if the wings are not level on entry. Track and altitude maintained before the stall, half point per 5 degrees of track or altitude change. When the aircraft is stalled or near stalled, no penalty should be applied for deviation in yaw due to the wind. Due to the wind, the yaw attitude of the aircraft relative to the prescribed degrees of rotation may result in actually rotating more or less than prescribed. No penalty is to be applied for this variation, provided it results from the effect of wind on the spin entry. During the period of time that the aircraft is in a stalled or near stalled condition, any wind drift should be disregarded by the judges and not downgraded. This is under Basic Components of Aerobatics on page 24 of the rulebook. There must be a stall in order to have a proper spin. As always, the competitor is given the benefit of the doubt, but if a judge is certain that no stall occurred, a 0 is to be given. The stall and the wing drop that indicates the start of autorotation are to occur simultaneously. If they do not occur simultaneously, a downgrade of a half a point for each 5 degrees of movement that occurs in one movement before the other movement is shown. In other words, if the nose drops 20 degrees before the wing drop is shown, a 2-point deduction is to be applied. Aircraft must autorotate during the spin, no spiral dive. Aircraft must establish a vertical wind-corrected downline after the spin, half a point per 5 degrees for error from vertical. Omission of this line is to be downgraded 1 point. If a roll element follows a spin, there should be a brief but perceptible pause, similar to unlinked rolls, between the spin and the roll. Because there is no vertical line before the spin, there is no criterion to center a roll element that follows the spin on the vertical downline. For more information, log on to mini-iac.com or arestisystem.com.